So the Genshin Impact voice actor situation has been blowing up massively ever since the whole strike has come to an end. Now, obviously, the strike for Genshin Impact, I say the strike, the refusal to work for Genshin Impact is still not over yet, and it's still ongoing, which obviously is causing a lot of drama in the space. Now, obviously, Mujin, as he says here, I got caught behind enemy lines, bro, is saying, you know, obviously he's been blocked by Karina Boga and Kaylee Mills, which we looked at in the last video. But it seems like the voice actor Kaylee Mills is still going on in comment sections and other places. Now, it says here on the r/Genshin Impact subreddit, Kuching's VA claims many of the VAs are still refusing to return unless AI protections were added to their contracts. Now, obviously, yeah, this person says here, you know, that she publicly went after Jacob Kenich's new VA during the SAG-AFTRA strike. I don't know why they're calling it the SA strike. Calling his casting diabolical, plus the SAG strike only applied to US-based places. They say, Genshin had nothing to do with the SAG strike. I never said I would only work on it if it went union. In fact, I only ever asked that they would add AI protections into my non-union contract. They refused, and so I said I could not work for them until they agreed. Many other actors are doing the same. And, you know, obviously this person down in the comments saying, aren't the contracts actually done by the studios? Someone said yes. They say both her and Karina are twisting the narrative to make themselves look like the victim. Even when Karina, who was asked who delayed payments when the studio was responsible, Karina skirted around the question and gave a very vague answer without admitting who delayed payment, and that at the end, Hoyo is responsible, even though it's the studio's job to make sure the VA are paid on time, not Hoyo or any other company. Which again, yeah, it's pretty crazy. And obviously, yeah, it seems like, you know, with Karina and Kaylee and people like that, we all know their main goal. The main goal for them is to turn Genshin Impact union. That is what they want, and whatever kind of thing they can say to make it seem like, you know, going union is the best choice for some people is obviously, you know, they're going to say it, and they're going to comment it, and they're going to, you know, put out several tweets about it, which is kind of crazy. You know, obviously we all know why they're doing it, and we all know the kind of actual truth behind this is because they want Genshin Impact to go union. It's not necessarily because of the AI protection things. It's not necessarily because of, you know, all of this other stuff. The main reason is because, you know, they want it to go union, and, you know, it's just apparently better for them in that way. But again, they're saying twisting the narrative indeed, and Karina's behavior and appearance brings so much Umbridge vibes. We're inclined to not trust a word from her, saying, I'm not saying body shaming is okay, but the toilet video, purposely unkept appearance, childishness, pettiness, scabbing, botched dye job, and bug-eyed senior pugster all add up into one word: incompetence. She took arguably one of the most sympathetic positions possible and managed to make people question if she can function as a human being at all. They said incompetence is a understatement. Disgusting, however, is much more an appropriate word. They say, yep, it's another tactic to shift the blame. Most studios already have AI protections in contracts, and if the one used by Kaylee doesn't, then she should change studios. Also, let's not forget, Kaylee shouldn't have even voice coaching in the first place because of Global Rule 1. SAG-AFTRA looked the other way, probably because they wanted her to flip Hoyoverse to union. Like Hoyoverse is going to go union, so SAG-AFTRA can order it around and charge tons of fees every time Hoyoverse uses a non-union voice actor. It's crazy how out of touch these VAs are. They're making Hoyoverse, a gigantic multi-billion-dollar corporation, look like the good guys again and again. And yeah, that's definitely true. You know, with all of this drama that's been going on and all of this SAG-AFTRA strike stuff, you know, it's been making Genshin Impact and Hoyoverse look even better. This is one of the most surprising things about this entire drama, is the fact that, you know, usually people don't side with the company. Usually people don't side with the big guy, with the multi-billion-dollar corporation, or whatever you want to call it. You know, usually they side with the people that want, you know, things better, but somehow these people have managed to turn it into something completely different, which is pretty crazy. They say, yep, in another post, someone commented that Deluxe VA is fine with voicing in CCC, but doesn't voice in Genshin. ZZ Studio has the requested AI protections in the contract, Genshin Studio doesn't. And you see, this is what I find confusing. Like, I'm sure they'll actually collectively reached out to go to the studio, they'll be much more successful at leveraging what they need. But instead, they go after Hoyo, who doesn't even directly handle the English voiceover. Not to mention, like, who is negotiating? Who is representing them? Is there a conversation going on at all? If it's a studio contracting them, then why are they waiting for Hoyo on this and not the studio? They say, exactly. They're fighting the wrong enemy. Hoyo is only the client, not the employer. They say, really, how so? Genshin's USA studio, Side Global, the LA branch, is both SAG certified and an IMA signatory. It's on their official site. How can they both be without AI protections? They say, don't ask me, I'm not sitting in that boat, but the fact is, if anyone is to blame, it's the studio, not Hoyo. And obviously they said true and agreed. They say, wasn't D-Look hired by Formosa? Side Global only joined around 5.2 though. Is there any news that D-Look switched studios from Formosa to Side? Because Formosa was the one who was struck by SAG for the AI protections. Say, is Genshin still using Formosa? Hard to believe that Formosa was on the strike list, and in a shared post, D-Look VA also confirmed that Genshin strike is not related to SAG-AFTRA strike. They say, since the strike ended, Formosa is no longer under the strike, so VAs under Formosa should be able to voice again for other games, but not Genshin, because it's still non-union project. I don't know if they're still under Formosa, because every VA before Side Global deal was from Formosa. All upcoming VAs for new characters or replaced ones will be from Side Global. So, but Genshin moved to another studio after the strike started. Also, someone said D-Look and Kokomi's VA are voicing ZZZ, which too is a non-union project, which, yeah, I mean, you know, people have been talking about this for a long time and arguing and trying to make sense of a lot of what they're saying. And I think this is especially why people are so confused and people, you know, start to not believe these voice actors, because they get told so many different things by these voice actors in what you should and shouldn't believe, and a lot of them turn out to be false, and a lot of them turn out to be confusing, and a lot of them turn out to be pretty misleading, which obviously doesn't help their case whenever they're trying to, you know, kind of appeal to their audience and appeal to the people saying that they need these changes, when in actual fact, you know, they're being very misleading about how they can actually get these changes and what they can do going forwards. Now, obviously, you know, other voice actors have been going pretty crazy. I saw this. I thought it was quite funny. You know, the other voice actors are really getting involved in just posting funny memes. So again, they're saying a suggestion to mods to add a flair to the VA related content. This is also another thing. They're also trying to filter flairs on the Genshin Impact subreddit. I don't know if they're actually going to do this, but it was a discussion that has 1,000 upvotes. They're saying, understand that this is one major platform where fellow players can share their thoughts in the VA strike and related to news and stuff, but as a Japanese audio enjoyer, all this drama is completely and utterly irrelevant to me and many other JP voice actors voice users over players. So I would really appreciate if there could be a flair or something like that. But again, I don't really know if, you know, that is the play there, because I feel like, you know, this kind of situation should be brought to light as much as possible. And if that means not having a separate flair and trying to filter this off into a different kind of section, I think honestly, it's better for the Genshin Impact community if they do, you know, not add any flairs at all, because I feel like even though if you're uninterested, at least you're still aware that this stuff is going on and it's still, you know, kind of happening, because if not, then you're just going to be unaware and that people are not going to maybe support this kind of, you know, stuff as much. People say, like, how do you filter flairs off? I can only filter them on. They say, which is true, which is why I asked the mods if it's possible to do. You know, they're saying, do people even use the flare filter? I don't even know there's a filter until now. So is the flare filter available on mobile? So again, yeah, people, like some people want it, and people saying, how do you filter out this flare? I don't think it's possible on Reddit. So again, I don't think it's even possible, but obviously it's just a suggestion that they tried to make and we're coming up with. Again, I don't think it's the best of ideas. I think it should be the whole Genshin Impact community should know about what is going on at any single point, even if you're not as interested in it. I think, you know, just having some eyes on it is the best course of action, especially whenever there's stuff like this going on quite a bit. But yeah, that's pretty much a little update that I want to give. Obviously, Kuching's VA is getting down in the comments, you know, trying to spread some more false stuff to people, which I thought was pretty crazy. I don't know what the original video was for this, but again, I'm guessing it's one of their YouTube videos that they uploaded. But yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and also go to GameStop, use my code Kasa, get 10% off again. They've got a ton of really cool stuff over there. I definitely recommend checking it out. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.